Yeah, I'm Pia, game UX designer at Travian Games in Germany. And after all this very exciting and amazing talks about so many interesting topics, I came up with one of my favorite topics, workflows and processes. I know it's a dry topic, and I promise you we will get through this together and we will survive. I try to make it very short. So let's start. Why and how? It can make sense to integrate your QA department closer into your design process. As we UX designers, we can also approach workflows and processes with the same methodologies and principles like we do in our games or projects. So let's talk about the problem space. To give you some background, I'm talking about a game project that is more than 15 years old. It's a strategy browser game with a lot of history, such as that it grew over time. So many features added over time. There are connections, more complexity over time, and so on. Then outdated technology. Some of you might remember it. Browser games running on Flash Player didn't work anymore after Flash Player stopped, so we needed to change our technology. This was a huge effort and of course also didn't make the actual game development easier. Then incomplete documentation. After so many years of work, so many changes in the game, the documentation of such a project is usually incomplete and you don't have everything properly documented with all the up-to-date information and so on. And then one of the last things that are not unusual in such kind of projects, almost no team members of the initial development team are still here today. So a lot of knowledge is also gone on this side. So this all led to missing information and incomplete designs, and in the end to iteration-heavy development. So you create a design, it gets implemented, QA starts testing, and then suddenly, oh, we missed this connection to this feature because no one ever knew that this connection actually exists between the features. So these issues occurred repeatedly and again. So yeah, what happened because of this? We missed many release deadlines and or we needed to release with a dissatisfying release quality, which in the end led to very unhappy players. So we knew we need to do something here. Let's talk about solutions. So of course, we try to find different opportunities, solutions that might improve the situation. Since we are not on the game dev summit today, but on the game UX summit, I will focus on the improvements we can or could make on the UX side, but I also give you some examples. So one option would have been to invest 1 year or a half year with many team members to actually complete the documentation to be able to create proper designs. If you think about this, nearly a year of time of different team members is a heavy time and also financial investment. Since we are a live game, we just couldn't choose this option. We rely on creating content on a regular basis for our players to keep the game running. So this option was not available for us. Another option would have been to have for every design we make a meeting with every 20 team members to check for all missing edge cases, collect the information from the collective brain of the team, find missing connections to other features and so on. But similar to the first option, this is an overkill in time investment and financial investment. So this was also not a very good option for us to proceed with. So we decided to take the middle way for our UX design process. So we decided to let the team members with the most complete knowledge check the designs before the estimation, planning, and development process starts to catch as many problems as possible before the rest of the team gets involved. So as you maybe already have an idea which department or team members this might be in our case, it was our QA department. Why the QA department? So just of a rough visual idea how the process worked in our team, we had the design side, we created all and prepared everything for the development team. Then everyone got their stories, the art department, UI, front-end developer, back-end developer. But in the end, all the things got back together in the quality assurance department. They tested everything. They had the best overview of which problems did we have in the past, which features or areas of the game made the biggest problems, which things are we missing most or forget about them. And since they are playing the game on a daily basis, they also have a very tight connection to our players and how our players actually use our game and the features. So they had a very good overview of how the features connect in the game. So in the end, we implemented a QA design test for every UX and game design concept that was created. So actually, there was a loop next to the design loop to exchange with the quality team to improve the design before it goes to the rest of the team. Practical, this looks like, okay, two quality assurance guys sat down with the concept, looked over it into detail, gave feedback to the design team. We looked over it again, adjusted the design, got again some feedback, and only if there were no bigger issues found from the quality assurance team anymore, only then the design went over to the rest of the team. So, in review, what did we achieve with this change? So first of all, we were able to significantly decrease the amount and scope of iteration cycles caused by design issues. This had a very huge impact of our ability to develop new stuff because we were able to increase our reliability for release dates and quality, which in the end led to us being able to develop more stuff in the same time. And in the end, binding everything together, we were able to improve the overall experience for all our players in the game because we were more reliable, the quality was better, and we were able to offer them more stuff in the game. Short conclusion. Do you now have to integrate your QA into your design process? Of course not. So it doesn't make sense for every team and project to integrate, especially your QA department, into your processes. But it's very valuable to think about and reevaluate your processes if they are still the best fit for the needs and circumstances you have in your specific game or project. So only because a workflow or a process is very common or established doesn't mean that this is the best process for you and your team. Because if you improve your workflows, in the end, you achieve improvements for your team and your players. So using your UX skills, your methods, not only on the game or the project itself, but also on your team, on your workflows, still helps in the end your players. And that's it from my side.
Thank you so much. I'm double checking if I unmuted everything. Do we have questions? I was looking at the Q&A. Questions are not in yet. I know that sometimes people take a little bit of time to ask their questions. There were a lot of reaction in the chat.
We could also use the time to answer some other questions.
Yeah, but I know that it takes a little bit of a while for people to type in their questions. But yeah, if in the meantime you want to answer something in the Q&A, you can absolutely do that. We have how much time? We have 5 minutes.
Okay, actually, there's a question from Lucas.
Oh, there
What
you
are
go.
the main differences between QA and UX research deliverables? Because sometimes I felt confused. Yeah, I'm actually also sometimes confused about that. I would say that QA focus regularly more on what the issue is. So, or players complain about things not working as they should, or they don't understand them, or they just don't like them, and they don't focus so much on the why behind this. So UX and your QA is a very good symbiosis. At least in our team, we have this experience that QA delivers us as UX designers many information about which areas, which things we need to keep a closer look on. And then the UX research can go into, okay, why is this and how can we solve this? So both focus on players and finding the best solution for the players, but the one team more on the what and the other team and on the why and how, I would say. I hope that answers your question.
It's a great answer. I love the why. Are there any? Oh, there you go. How would you integrate QA in the design process when the game is still in development?
Good question. I never worked on a newly developed game, but from my own experience as QA, I would say it's kind of similar to a live game, but the area with the direct player contact probably is not that directly as in a live game. But in general, QA is also a very broad area of expertise. So we have the most commonly known QA of just game tester that test, okay, does the game function like it's told in the design and is it bug free? But we also have localization QA that checks for the language, if the localization is great, or for platforms like PlayStation and so on, you have specific QA lists that just check if the requirements that the platform brings with it is met and stuff like this. So it's really hard to say overall how the best you can integrate your QA, because it really depends on what kind of QA you have.
I have one last quick question from Francois. Did you hire more QA testers to do this, or were you able to deal with the current team?
We were actually able to do with the current team because we freed so much of their time testing and reiterating on testing and tasks that were moved forward and pushed back to devs, that we didn't need to hire more people to make this possible.
Thank you so much, Pia, for your insightful talk.
No worries. Happy to be here.